So what I'd like to do is dive more into what it means to blossom as a human, because it's really significant, because very often people have a certain idea of what this is. And I'd like to drop us in deeper. So if you will, if you don't mind, go ahead and take a moment to close your eyes and go ahead and make a tight fist. So imagine that this fist is a bud, right? And the bud is connected to the seed, right? Both are holding a great amount of energy, of life force, of information, of wisdom. However, the bud is still tight in the bud. So as you hold your hand in this bud, I'm going to read you one of my favorite quotes by Anais Nin, and just notice what happens, how it feels for you. So here's the quote. And the day came when the risk to remain tight in a bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom. I'm going to read that again. So again, just notice how it feels. And the day came when the risk to remain tight in a bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom. So as you're ready, I invite you to open your hand, allowing it to blossom. And because you've been holding it in this tight fist for a few moments, you might even notice that there is a little bit of pain or a little bit of contraction. This is what it's like. Yes, even in blossoming, it's not always an easy job. But as we blossom, become more into an alignment of what is true, of the beauty that is there inherent within the bud, of the beauty that is inherent within our dream, within our soul's passion, within our soul's purpose. This is what it really means to blossom. So as you're ready, I invite you to come back and open your eyes. So blossoming means different things, right? There's the metaphor of the blossoming, but what does it actually mean in our lives? Some think that blossoming is some type of end or a completion of a path, but it's not. Sometimes what I've experienced is that it's more of a highlight into expanded awareness, into more light, into an activation of our next steps. To blossom means that we come into contact with a dream, a way of being, a thought pattern, or an intention that's vibrating inside of us that wants our attention and that wants to come more fully out into the world. And having the awareness, the courage, and the strength to actually bring it forth, right? Like just like what we felt a moment ago, it's not always easy. If we've been in this tight bud for a long time, we have to move through any painful contractions that are there, right? So this could mean something that you love dearly, that you are birthing in the world. So maybe there's a certain way of being. Maybe there's a new career. Maybe, like for me, there's a book, right? Right now I'm writing a book that I'm birthing into the world, right? This is a lot of what's resonating for me in terms of my own spring equinox dream manifestation, right? And this is what many people perceive when they think of blossoming, right? We think of manifestation, we think of the law of attraction. I even taught an event a few months ago on the power of the word. This is an aspect of somatic awakening and how we can actually utilize it to manifest our soul's dreams into our life and other things into our life. Yes, this is absolutely part of it. However, remember, we are also in the times of healing and awakening and ascension. And so when we connect with these big transits that are coming up, the Pluto transit, the solar flares, and all the other things that are going on, as well as whatever's happening in our own life that's reflecting and reverberating back to us, sometimes we notice that what wants to be born is that something, some old, worn out, painful way is actually rising up from the shadow of our psyche, right? And it's rising up, not to be obnoxious, even though it might feel intense at the beginning, but it's rising up for healing. So on this path of blossoming, when something is arising up to be healed, there's a huge amount of light. Remember, this is the time of enlivening with this light, right? And so this light, very often, if we tune into it, it is this care, this compassion, this love that's coming from our higher self, that's coming from the divine. And when this light makes contact with the parts that feel hurt or negative or in fear or frozen in pain, still frozen in winter's freeze, so to speak, they start to receive this love, this light, this care, this compassion that it's been deeply longing for, so that these parts, especially the frozen ones, can thaw. And from here, they step more into peace, more into healing, and are set free. They come back home. So the more that this actually happens within our psyche, the more these wounded parts are set free. And the more space we have within our being. In essence, what happens is that the density of the shadow transmutes. And when the density of the shadow transmutes, we have more space to embody our higher self. We have more ability to connect to our soul's light. And when we do this, we actually have more ability to remember the divine human beings that we are. And as we do this more and more, the other version of blossoming also happens, right? Because we're connected to our soul's passion. We're connected to the strength, the care, the compassion, the courage, the empowerment, whatever is needed to actually align to that dream that you've been holding on to for a long time. Because if we have these old ways of being, these old thought patterns, say for instance, we have a thought pattern that says, oh, I'm just not good enough and I'll never manifest my soul's dream. Well, that thought pattern, that part of the ego, will put a damper on your manifestation of your soul's dream. So this process is part of the blossoming manifestation process as well. This is one step after another, right? And the more that we do this, the more enlivening that we feel, no matter what season we're in, because we have more connection to our higher self, our soul, our heart leading our lives. This is what the path of somatic awakening is all about. And this is why I'm teaching it now.